Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. I'm Irish Guy. Welcome to Second Chance Recovery. I'm Jesse. I'm your host for today, and today we're on location up at the cabin, and we got a little bit of a rain, so we're taking a little bit of a break from swinging hammers and getting stuff done, because that's what we do. But I got a special guest with me today.
Hello, my name is Jake, and I was an alcoholic for about 9 years, currently 30 years old, enjoying working with Jesse here.
Nice. So, as a little intro, Jake, as he says, he's 30 years old. He came up to Minnesota from Arizona, which I think he'll probably share in his story a little bit. We want to do a little bit about 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to ask him some questions. I'm going to interview him. He is somebody who, like you said, was an alcoholic, and so he's seeking out the same things that you and I are, which is trying to fight the battle every day of staying sober. So,
well, it's always hard to think about getting sober when you're not.
Right.
And I couldn't even imagine going a day without drinking when I was. And the hardest thing, I think, is the battle in yourself.
Right.
It's being able to tell yourself not to drink or do anything else.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Drugs, drinking,
Right.
gambling, sex, whatever it may be. So first, I want to ask Jake, who was your role model? Who was your role model growing up, and maybe who is now your role model or still is?
Well, growing up, my original role model was my father, because he never drank. Yeah, my dad. He passed away when I was 13, but up till then, he didn't drink at all because he knew his father was an alcoholic, and
Right.
he hated his drunkard father. So that's how he grew up. He's like, he never drank. I think I've seen him have one beer until he died.
Wow.
And I knew he wasn't hiding it because he hated alcohol.
Right.
So he was a role model, and then I had a couple people after he died that were my mom's boyfriends, and they also, it seems like everyone had an issue with alcohol, unfortunately, and they helped me realize how bad it was. But I eventually started drinking anyway, and it never helped. But to help getting better, oh man, I just did what they're doing. I went to YouTube and everywhere else to try and look for people who would help me.
Right.
And that helped a lot. You just got to find a group of people that really just are together and they're for you. And once you find that group, little by little, it will help you to find the strength in yourself to say, maybe I'll just have one less drink today.
Right.
Just because, I want to make everyone proud. If you have somebody that will be proud of you, it will help a lot. Because look, I stopped drinking. I had even one less drink today, and I feel proud. You feel proud of yourself too.
You do, absolutely. So as you grew up, your dad passed away when you were 13, and I'm guessing that probably played a little bit of an impact in your early teens there, and then your dad is no longer in the picture.
Right.
So how did that affect you from when you were 13? We'll just touch on it lightly and briefly if you want to. I don't want to get too deep, but that's a pivotal moment in your childhood, right? Pre-teens. Right. So
yeah, the outcome was I learned a lot about women because I grew up with one sister and my mom, and that was my my home group. So I didn't learn anything about cars or like being outside, going fishing. I missed a lot of that.
Right.
So I've learned a lot of that as an adult that most people with a dad learned earlier.
Yep.
So that affected some of the things I learned.
Yeah.
And it also really affected my mental state in high school. I dropped out of high school one time for about a year, and it really affected school the most.
Right.
And I think because of that, it affected what I didn't know what I wanted to do when I got out of high school, so I just joined the military.
Right.
And so I think all that planned up to me joining the military, it led up to that. And so I just think everything is steps.
Yeah.
It goes in steps.
So do you think that your dad would have been proud of you having you've been going into the military?
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Yeah. He was a veteran too, so.
Nice. So you kind of followed in your father's footsteps in a little degree there, right? Mm-hmm. So, but Dad wasn't a drinker either.
No,
right?
He was not.
But Jake was a drinker.
I was.
Okay, so Do you remember your first memory of? Do you remember your first birthday? Not your 1-year-old birthday, but when was your first birthday memory?
Oh my gosh.
Or like your first Christmas, or what was your earliest memory of a holiday, or being around dad, mom, maybe sister hasn't been born yet? Or
No, it had to have been when I was 5.
5.
Yeah. And it was just Christmas morning that I remember.
Okay.
Because it felt like, the 90s Christmas movies.
Right.
Like, nothing could go wrong.
Yeah.
My sister, when we wake up, we open presents.
You run downstairs.
Get excited, got the new Pokemon game. It was a great time, and that was probably one of my favorites. And then the other one that I remember is when my dad he gave me a GameCube game and said, "I got this Batman movie for you." And I was like, "Oh, it's not a movie, it's a GameCube. You gotta take it. Dang it, you got the wrong thing." And then he gives me a GameCube.
Nice.
So that's my biggest memories for holidays.
Yeah. So hanging on to those memories, some of them earliest memories is really important. So that's good that you get to talk about that, man. I love that. I can see it in your eyes how much.
Oh yeah, it was a good bonding time.
Yeah, there's some pride in your eyes when you talk about your family, especially your father. So let's. I don't want to make this too long, but I want to keep it interesting. So let's shift now from you got a little bit of early history about Jake, my man Jake. Did your beliefs as a child transfer over to adulthood? So the same things that you believed when you were 5 to 13 when your dad was around, are they the same things that you believe today?
All right. So I grew up in a Lutheran family.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Christian home.
Yes, it was a Christian
mom and
home.
dad.
Mom and dad. My dad grew up as Catholic and switched to Lutheran because my mom.
Okay.
So kind of Catholic mixed with Lutheran, but mainly Christian. And I stopped believing I stopped being Christian when I was 13 after my dad died. And that's just me personally. I didn't feel, it was just what I believed.
Yeah.
I still believe in a higher power. I still believe in we're not the highest form of intelligence.
Right. Yeah.
Something
it can't be.
Definitely not. I hope
not me anyway.
So I felt, and that's what I still believe in. I still feel that. I feel the spiritual energy. So I believe in spirits, and I believe in
good and bad.
Yes,
you do.
Good and bad, and I believe in. Everyone has a soul.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But so they did differ. I stopped believing when I was 13 and chose to believe in that, and still do. And I feel happy with what I believe in.
So do you remember as 13 consciously deciding not to follow that, or do you just remember going through the trauma of losing your father and thinking, or not thinking about religion, but just going off and just finding your own way?
It was more of a sudden, I can't believe in this crap. Yeah. And that was when I was 13 after he died. I can't believe in that stupid God. I hate him.
Right.
And it's like, this is like, if that was a thing, that's stupid. I hate him. And then, as a child, I didn't know better. And then as I grew up, with that single kind of immature belief, it grew and grew and grew until I could understand more things about the world.
Right.
And there's plenty I'm still learning, but currently I still feel the same, but in a more mature manner. I'm not going to...
You're not as ignorant.
Definitely.
Amen. I love it. Mm-hmm. So if those beliefs didn't transfer to adulthood, today, what is your belief today? Not saying it's right, wrong, indifferent. You kind of know my beliefs. I kind of already know your beliefs, but I want you to tell the people on my channel who have very different, varying views. There are very many different people on the channel, but I want Jake to tell us what he believes today so we can relate, really.
Yeah, the one thing I'm worried about is I don't want anyone to think that I'm trying to make them believe in anything.
Sure.
They're not. Because if your beliefs help you become a better person, believe in whatever you want to, as long as it doesn't harm anybody else. And I think that's, in general, we can all agree.
Right. Amen.
So
it's getting pretty. The weather here is getting pretty bad. We'll keep going here for a few, but it is getting pretty gnarly out. So this is probably one of the reasons why we took the break from the work. And with that break, I just really wanted to try to bring to you guys a different perspective, a different outlook, if you will. maybe a different mindset on some of the stuff that we struggle with every day. And I know Jake, after being an alcoholic for 9 years, and that's a long time to struggle with something. And I know that I struggled with about the same amount of time, if not a little bit longer. But
the last 3 years I was drinking, it was only the last 3 years where I was morning and day drinking, I could say. Woke up, took my first shot, and it was like 3:30 in the morning.
Right,
you know?
and that was the start. And then what does that look like?
Well, I had to go to work.
Oh, and you were going to work like that.
I was doing construction.
You were, okay.
Yeah, and it was just getting worse. And then throughout the day, I was using tools, and I couldn't stop the shaking.
Right.
I couldn't. So I, day by day, got worse and worse. And it was 100 degrees where I was working.
Right.
110.
Ooh.
And
Arizona.
Arizona, and I was cold. I was cold sweating from alcohol. And it is 100 degrees, but I'm wearing a jacket, and I'm hot, and I'm cold. So being in being in my own bodysuit felt disgusting during the day, unless I wasn't drunk or drinking. That was the worst 3 years ever. Once you start in the morning, it just goes downhill.
It does fast. It does.
It goes quick downhill.
It does. So how long's today? When was the last time you drank like whiskey, or like that was like the problem? Like how long have you been freed from that? Like
so I stopped being an alcoholic about a year ago.
Nice.
A year and a half ago.
Right.
About a year ago.
Awesome. So in that last year, have your beliefs changed since you put down the whiskey? Have your beliefs changed, or have they always just maintained the state? So quitting alcohol, has it changed anything in you, or are you just more confident that you don't have to do it, or?
Oh man.
How has it changed you at all?
It's changed my mentality has stabilized.
Nice.
And that is when I was drunk and not drinking, my mentality, the way I was thinking, would fluctuate so rapidly.
Right.
It was like I had
right, like bipolar or something.
That's how I felt.
I can edit too.
Yeah.
So
I felt bipolar.
Okay. Bipolar.
Mm-hmm. And that was the worst feeling ever. And now that I know I have more control, which is obvious because you lose control when you drink.
That's awesome.
But even when I wasn't drinking and it was in my system, I felt like I didn't have any control.
Right.
I didn't know I didn't have control until I
Right.
stopped drinking, and now I'm like, oh well, this is normal. This is how this feels, and my body feels so much lighter.
Right.
But my beliefs didn't change.
No.
Yeah.
You still have the same beliefs as from when you were drinking heavily and carried through, and so now you just feel like your mind and your body is stabilized. You're more stable. You're more confident and competent maybe in what you're doing. You're not.
And I know that not a lot of people can do this.
Right.
Because I didn't go to AA, or
No.
I didn't use anything but the people on the internet to help me, and some of my family, my mom. And no, it just I didn't quit 100%.
Right.
And I don't think I feel the need to. I don't drink by myself. My rules to myself. I don't drink by myself. I don't buy alcohol from a store.
Right.
And I will never drink whiskey alone.
Right.
You know, that's just dangerous. But I do it on occasion. If I go out with a friend, I'll have a beer and call it at one beer.
Right.
Because I don't need it. If I just want to have a beer because I like the way it tastes, then I'll do that. But I'll just stop there.
Right.
The control is in me now. I have it.
Right.
And
You feel that you have that control and that
I've tested
the
it.
confidence.
I've tested the control when I was, in Japan.
Right.
You know, it says see if I could control myself with it. And,
Right.
And I did. It was not easy. I wanted to drink more. After you have your first, it's hard to stop.
Right.
But that's why I don't do it often, hardly at all.
Right.
And I haven't had one since April.
Wow. So there you go. So we've got some abstinence from the whiskey that really drug Jake down to his darker days, because I know when I was drinking whiskey or anything like that, it really was a hard time. So I hope you guys can hear me. I'm going to go through just a couple more questions, and really maybe this is just a trial run for what's going to happen in the future, because I want to have Jake back He's an awesome worker. He's really insightful. He's very quick on his toes, on his feet. And he's always there to lend a hand or give me the tool that I need. And so, the baton is getting passed from person to person, and it's really good to know that he's staying away from the whiskey, because I think so. I'm really proud of Jake for doing that, and I just wanted to know, you said you didn't go to AA.
No.
Did you ever go to AA?
Never.
And you never went inside the AA or the four walls. Okay, so you've never worked the 12 steps. So I just want to run through them quick. I'm not going to make you work them. I'm not.
Yeah, but I would like to know.
Yeah. See, this is exactly why.
So I can relate with everyone else. I would like to know what they are.
I like it. Admit to God that you're powerless over your addiction, right? And so step 2 is you came to believe that power greater than ourselves is there to help you. So step 2 leads into step 3, which is step 3 is making a decision to turn our lives and our will over to the power of God as you understand Him. So as you see that power greater than yourself. We made the decision to turn our lives and our will over to the power of God, right? As you understand Him, okay? And step 4 is we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of our lives. So we dissect our lives. Step 4 is really the beginning of opening the book and finding out what's deep inside of us. How can we...
That sounds like learning to forgive yourself. Step 4.
Amen. I like it. We're making a search and moral inventory. We're getting ready to forgive ourselves or to ask God to forgive us. But we know that we can forgive ourselves. I forgive myself. We have to.
Yeah. Or else you'll torture yourself.
So step 5 is then we admit to God, to another human being, and to ourselves the exact nature of our wrongs. And so step 6 is being entirely ready to have God remove these character of defects, or these defects of character rather. Step 7 is we humbly ask God to remove them, right? We get down, we really get, it's a humility thing. It's humbly asking God to remove these defects of character. And when you've done that, when you've made it to step 7, you're gaining enough spiritual maturity in your recovery to start to make a list of all the things that you've done in your life, starting from the worst thing you can think of to maybe not the worst thing you can think of, but making that list later on in recovery in step 8 is really important. Make direct amends to those people. I've worked these steps myself, and I've worked them with my sponsees, and continue to take personal inventory. So we're always taking personal inventory every day. Step 11 is sought through prayer and meditation. And then step 12 is having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, to carry that message to other alcoholics and to practice these principles. So from step 1 to step 12 is very important, but step 12 is the most important, because that's what I'm doing here today. That's what I'm attempting to do. And I'm trying to bring the message of other people who have had somewhat of a spiritual awakening in order to stop drinking. What's the most important thing that keeps you away from whiskey?
The number one reason is family.
Right.
If I was still drinking, I would lose my family.
Right.
I know that my wife would leave me, and I know that my work would plummet.
Right.
Number 1 is family. Number 2
There's
is
more.
Let's
hear it.
Because I lose control over how I want to feel, and my body reacts to it.
Right.
And I can't work with my hands shaking.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, me personally.
Shaking.
Right.
Yeah.
Shaking. Yep, you can't do that. So number 1, family.
Right.
If you have anyone that is affected from your drinking, know how proud they will be of you once you stop.
Right.
And how proud of yourself you will be.
Yeah.
I just can't say that enough, because that's how I feel. Like, oh damn, I can't believe that part is over.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know it was going to be such a big part of my life until I stopped. And you find out your wallet likes it too.
Yeah, a little heavier.
Yep, a little bit.
So your wife is from Japan?
Yes.
You want to tell our viewers this is a pretty unique thing about Jake, is his wife is from Japan. I'll let him tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
Well, I want to know it all.
She's Japanese. We've been married for a couple months now.
Yeah.
and I've been with her for 3 years. So.
Nice. You've been married for quite a few months, so have you?
Yeah, April. We got married in April.
Yeah, so you're coming up on the better half of a year here.
Yep, still separated though, because
Right.
she's in Japan and I'm here. So.
Right. So
But-
Jake is making the transition from America to Japan, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes, it's solid. He
Little
wants
by
to-
little.
Little by little, yeah. So sooner or later, Jake would love to be with his wife and see her again. Obviously, that must be so hard having a long distance relationship, thousands of miles apart. She's on an island. You're on a big crazy continent with all kinds of things going on.
Definitely.
But in the meantime, what are we doing? We're not drinking whiskey because
Yeah.
we miss her so much, right?
Yep.
We're not doing that. What are we doing? How are we coping? What's our coping mechanisms?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
I try and look for enjoyment in the smaller things.
sure.
You
Simpler things,
Yeah.
smaller things.
And that's really, it really took me a long time to do.
Okay.
You know, enjoy the bite of food that tastes amazing, and don't scarf it down.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and every little thing, what makes you laugh a little longer.
Sure.
You know, enjoy that one moment, and that's those little things every day that I look for them. It takes my mind off of not wanting to drink, and I understand that.
Right.
Because it took me, like, I watched people that quit drinking. I'm like, well, here I am with a glass in my, and I'm watching them as they quit drinking. I'm still drinking. And I get it.
Yeah.
I got to the point where I have other things that are more important.
Yep.
To me.
Yep.
Mainly money,
Right.
but
You got to be financially stable, and I know your wife is very fiscally responsible, so she's trying to rub that off on you, and you're doing great, man. You're working hard, you're making money.
also never forget when you quit drinking, your body will thank you. I ended up getting such bad heartburn from drinking so much.
Right.
I thought it was what I was eating. It wasn't. It was drinking, and it would come up, and I would just constantly gag on my alcohol because
Right.
it would just want to come up.
Mm.
So that stopped. I didn't have to take heartburn medicine anymore.
Nice.
That was real bad. I'm so happy that stopped.
Yeah, I bet. I had really bad eczema on my
Oh,
skin, and that went away the minute
I
I
did
stopped
too, right
drinking.
here.
Yeah?
When I drank, it would pop up right here.
Right.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I think our body, in a way, kind of says, hey, I'm allergic to
Oh,
this.
it's poison.
It is.
It is.
It very much is. So I believe that, and I know Jake does too. So, Jake, I want to thank you, man. I know this hasn't been the smoothest interview, but hey, for my first interview, I think we did okay. I'll do a little editing in here, but not much, because I really want to keep the raw sense of what we're talking about and how we're feeling and what's moving and shaking in our lives. So,
All right.
anything you want to say just as parting words?
Stay strong. Stay strong as you can. Just never give in to what other people tell you is best for you.
Right. Same for me, you guys. Give to receive, and giving back and service and being somebody in the recovery community that people look to. I really am privileged to talk with people like Jake because he has just as much insights as anybody else, including myself, into this because he's been there, he's dealt with it, he's had the shakes, he's gone to work drunk, he's had to survive with little or no money. We've all been there when we've been drinking or battling alcoholism. So anybody out there today that I know is battling, I'm telling you guys, Jake's saying, hold on, have hope, don't give up, keep pushing, have the strength to ask for help if you need it, and the courage. Don't give up. Don't give up hope. Right,
And
Jake?
as a question to the people, I've never experienced the 12 steps, so I want to know from everyone, has the 12 steps helped you? And in your own words, how have they helped you?
Right.
So I can learn how it affects everyone else.
Right. And I did a really poor job of trying to remember
It's okay.
that word
It's
for
okay.
word.
Everyone else knows it.
I hope so.
So-
So I'll edit in the actual 12 steps word for word. I kind of paraphrased them here, but step by step, it's a process. And if you follow the process and actually read the steps and know them, maybe work them with a sponsor or somebody who knows how to work with them or what they're for. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I'd be this person trying to explain the steps to somebody else because recovery is huge, faith is huge, my faith in God is huge, and I know Jake has a faith in power greater than himself. So don't give up, don't give in, keep pushing. If you need anything, please reach out, and I'm sure we will have Jake back on. But thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Hey.
Appreciate it.
You as well.
All right.